Hi, this is Nancy Reynolds. So I had some technical difficulties, to say the least. My program, Switcher Studio that I use, kept disconnecting from the internet and I'd lose my broadcast. And that happened probably about 6 times in a row with no real space. Maybe the first time there was like a minute or two space where I thought it was going to work, but it didn't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record the video. I'll leave what's up there just because it was just my hello and saying hi to everybody and the specials that are going on now. And I don't want to re-record all that. So let me fix my camera. Now, I'm going to move the arm of my holder back in place. So close your eyes for just a minute. Oh, I guess you don't have to. You just get to look at me with the arm in front of me while I try to straighten it out. There we are. Okay, here we go. So we're just going to go ahead and make our parts. This is the Thoughtful Wishes stamp set, Thoughtful Journey paper, designer series paper. And what I did was I was trying to use up some of my scraps. It's beautiful paper. I absolutely love it, and I've made lots and lots and lots of projects. And I think that I'm doing a fairly decent job of using up scraps. I still have plenty, but nothing like it was before I decided I needed to make an effort to get this a little bit smaller. So the Thoughtful Journey Designer Series paper, it is one of the papers that's on sale for 15% off. I am going to repeat myself that my winners from 3 weeks ago, when it was my last live, Diane Newman for YouTube comments, Kat Mahon, Cindy Howard, and Cindy Ford from Facebook, and it's Cindy for sharing, and Cindy Ford and Kat for commenting. So those will be addressed. I have your addresses. I'll get those sent out. I have 2 from before that I haven't been able to get hold of. I think they were both from YouTube. Sharon Berkner and Nancy Con 1174. This was my Zinnia card. Anyway, I have those here. I'm hoping to get your address so I can get those sent off. And let's see, our supplies today, we're using the Thoughtful Wishes stamp set. The only stamp I'm using really is the thanks. I used the Eyelet 3D embossing folder, which I love. It's so pretty. And the stylish shaped dies. And the die I used for my sentiment was this little one. Just a cute little one. I'm changing the ribbon that we use. This is all I have left of my sheer silver and white ribbon. So that wasn't going to work, but I think my second favorite ribbon is this iridescent stripe, which I think is really pretty. I like this. So we're going to make it with this ribbon. I'm going to continue to use the Adhesive Backed Pearl Trio. 3 different colors. One with the pinks and petunia popish colors. This one is lovely. It's got a silvery gray and lots of different colors in it, and then the Calypso Coral. So I thought we'll use those. A little bit of Blackberry Bliss ink. I've actually stamped and die cut our sentiment. A little thanks. And since I have 2 of them, I'm going to put them right up here so I don't lose them. You know how I lose things. So let's go ahead and do our envelopes first. On this envelope, I really did have a pretty big piece of designer series paper in my scrap bin, so I used that. Put a little bit of it on the front. I have the leaf stamp. What's that one I wanted? I was wanting something to stamp on. And it's messy, and I'm going to apologize. I thought of a lot of things today, but so I was getting ready, but I did not think about changing the paper on my Here's matte. So I'm just going to put this up here. Blackberry Bliss really almost looks black. That would be where the stamp goes because I had the envelope upside down. So let's do one more. I made a mess. Oh my goodness. Well, what's stamping without inky fingers? I'll just pull one of these out, clean myself up a bit, because I really don't want to get that out. I have a tip for you. Do you ever get ink and you can't, like this is not going to come out with the baby white? If it lasts and lasts, or you have to go somewhere and you really need to have your fingers without ink, may I suggest that you wash your hair? Because when you wash your hair, that shampoo and the soap and all, and you're scrubbing, it works perfectly for getting ink off. It always surprises me. So let's put this one here. So there's one envelope. Now let's do this the way I really like to do them. Remember, no mistakes in stamping, just opportunities to be creative. Here we go. And I really like having a little bit hanging over the top, not where the stamp goes usually, but by doing this, I get a little something on the back flap, and I get a pretty front. So there's our envelopes. We can put those aside, they're done. Let's put the ink away before I manage to make a bigger mess than I already did. Since the stamping is done, let's bring in our card bases. And really, what I like to do, this is a full sheet of our cardstock, right? So I like to score the full sheet and then I cut it in half. And you've got two bases, so why not make two cards? Especially, oh, actually, what I like to do, I'm going to save my show and tell for next week. I have a fun card for next week, I tell you. Let's hope the internet works right. Because I think you're going to really like it. I like to line up in the corner of my trimmer, kind of holds those sides together, and then just once in a while, you know, the scoring is just a teensy bit off. Not a lot off, but just a teensy bit. I miss having someone to chat with while I'm doing this. So, we have two card bases. I have two 4 by 5 1/4 inch pieces of also Blackberry Bliss, and I have already embossed these with the Eyelet 3D embossing folder. I have cut 1/4 inch off the bottom, so no, it's 5 1/4. I cut 3/4 of an inch off the bottom. These are 5 1/4. This is 6 inches. 6 inches across, and then I cut those in half so they're 3 inches each. So no leftovers from this. And let's see, here's what I cut off the bottom. Or it's about the size I cut off the bottom. I actually put the one I cut off the bottom in one of the other envelopes for someone. So this could go on the bottom of your envelope if you wanted. I had some strips in my little scrap bag, and so I just cut a piece down. I put it on the one is already on. It's on the basic white that'll go on the inside of the card. We will just take and do this one very quickly. Oh, helps if you take the lid off the glue. There's a hint. The back is also pretty on this one. So I'm just going to put this on my inside for the second card. Looks like I cut this just a little bit long. Trim that off. Look at this one, and it's all good. While we've got these here, let's go ahead and put things together. It's a very easy card to make. I do not like to use liquid glue on white cardstock. Don't put the trees upside down. It would not look quite right. But it would give you the opportunity to either make a card for a left-handed person or take it off. And here we go. And you certainly could use a different pattern for your inside if you wanted. The backs are so pretty and they are color coordinated, so that'd be nice. I'm going to now use, because we're going to put this on an embossed piece, and we really want it to be able to squish in there and hold together. So I'm going to approximately center it. I see that I'm a little bit off. The advantage of liquid glue is that you can adjust. Again, if you're off and you're cutting like I was, actually I think the cutting was fine. Often when you emboss something, it'll shrink up either a little bit in length or a little bit in width. So here we go. Let's just give this a nice little back rub. I love Blackberry Bliss with this paper. And I think there's a little petunia pop that kind of fades to a pretty in pink. Colors I absolutely love. And we'll do the same with for our second card. See, this is why it is so easy if you do two. I also think that the better choice would be to pull in a silicone mat so that as I'm working on this, I'm working on a surface that glue doesn't stick to. Okay, picking it up just a little bit, moving it up. Okay, now we'll smush it down. And trim off that little bottom. It is just a sliver. Now before I put this on, I want to put my ribbon on it. And you'll notice that this ribbon is just a little wonky, it just not straight. To solve that problem, and to make me just a little bit happier, I'm going to pull in my tear and tape, put it right along the side here. Since my designer series paper is a little bit wider on this one, I thought that it would be nice to have it overlap the designer series paper. So here we are, a little tear and tape. And then let's grab a piece of ribbon and cut it. It's going to fold over. It's still going to fold over, so I want a little bit of extra room. And then, to make life easier, I am just going to hold this next to it and cut my second piece. Now, I love, with the Take Your Pick tool, I really like the edition set that came out last year. It's got a thinner and longer pokey tool. It reminds me more of the old pokey tool we used to have. So I'm going to peel off the backing. Put that in the garbage. Grab my ribbon. Try to make it straight. And put it down. So now it's not going to go wiggling wobbling everywhere. And if you're a little bit off with the straight, you can fix it. Let's do the second one. And then I'm just going to put a little CO Plus to hold those ends down. And if you've gotten it a little bit off and not straight, you can fix that. I like that better. There we are. And we'll do that. See, doing 2 at a time is really fast and efficient. Let's see how that goes. And now I want to put these on, but I think we need a little bit of texture difference. Let's see, we've got I have dimensionals. I know I put on extra dimensionals. It probably doesn't need this many, but I just don't like it to sag. So no sagging allowed. I have been finishing off all little trays of dimensional sheets, and it just feels so good to get that done. Besides, I really like starting new dimensional sheets. It is just fun. Anyway, this one has a little ways to go. So when you start a dimensional sheet, where do you start? Do you start at the end, or do you start, like I do, somewhere in the middle? Or we'll say middle-ish. And I don't know why that is. It makes absolutely no sense to me. Okay, all of these off. And I do better with this using my fingernails than I do the take your pick, although others have great success using their take your pick tools. We can put this on. If you've got, it's kind of hard to do when you've got a dark color on a dark color. But if you line up 3 sides with about the same space, you're going to get a fairly good 4th side. Okay, but let's do it this way. I think that's right there. Now basically all we've got to do is a little bit of decorating. There's a dimensional that got missed. We're going to need a bow. And so, because bows are not my very best skill, I have a bow jig. Cut off. Sometimes I do it with it on the roll, but I think this will be just fine off the roll. So there's our bow. I'm going to give it a little bit of a tug, see if I can get these to go just a bit more at an angle. And cut some corners. I didn't flag that one very well. There. There's one. Let's do a second. So with the bow jig, basically you just wrap it around your nails. I tend to pull mine a little tight so my nails get a little together, and I have a smaller bow, but that's okay with me. If I wanted a larger bow, I could just move the nails over. Okay, there's our second one. And here are our two thanks. I think I put them down flat before, but I think we're going to use some of the mini dimensionals and raise these up a little bit. Okay, here's the pokey tool. To me, these little ones are hard to get out in place without a little bit of help from a tool. And again, the take your pick tool does so much. We're going to use it again to do our pearls, the adhesive backed ones. So put these on before we put the bow on. I'm breaking my own rule. I'm not throwing my adhesive backings in the garbage right away. There. I think I'm going to put this at an angle this time. And then I'm going to put my bow up like this. So let's take and see how that looks. It's fun to play around. You should definitely do whatever makes you happy. Got my glue dot on. Bow right here. And I think I like that. So let's do it another time. So did you see what I did? I just went and I touched it onto my glue dot and carried it over. And then I want another, those were not glue dots, those were dimensional backs. So I'm going to take this one that did not come off, there we are, put it on the back of our bow to help us place it where we want it. Two bows, two sentiments, two cards, and now the gems. Pokey tools are dangerous. They poke you if you're not careful. So do keep the end. The other end here, I've got the putty end, and I'm just going to warm it up just a little bit with my fingers. Although my house is fairly warm, so that might not have been necessary. I'm going to pick up my little, adhesive backed pearl trio. And you really want to make a triangle. very pleasing to the eyes if you're just using the 5 or the 3. And the Fibonacci principle helps us all understand that odd numbers are attractive to the eye. So there we are. Look at that. We have our cards. 2 cards done. The interesting envelope, and what I would say is the pretty envelope. There we are. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you'll come back next week. Hopefully, technology will be perfect. I'm looking for that. And we'll be able to show you the card I made that I'm going to send to my downline as a thank you. And so I didn't want to do that today because I would like to get it in the mail for them before the Facebook Live, showing you how it's made. But it's really fun and it's not that hard, and I think it's kind of cute. Anyway, I think that's it. And until I see you again, happy crafting. Bye-bye.